my handful of viewers, and welcome back. It's been a while since I posted a video, had some technical difficulties, but I'm back with a new set, as you might have noticed. And this video is going to be all about my top 10 people who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I shot some of the footage at my old set back a few months ago, so there's a little disjoint there. But all in all, here are my top 10 guys who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Number 10, the Brooklyn Brawler.
The Brawler has been around the company for so long, ever since his 80s days when he was jobbing, all through the 90s, up until today even. He's still a road manager and helps out the enhancement talent at various shows. I just think that kind of loyalty needs to be rewarded, especially when that loyalty led him to just doing anything they ask him to. The most ridiculous gimmicks. Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. Kim Chi, Kamala's handler. He acted in that capacity for a while. He was the second Doink after Matt Bourne left the company. Anything they've asked him to do, he is willing to do, and he does it very well. So I think it's beyond time to put the Brawler in the Hall of Fame.
Number 9, Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bigelow was one of the best big men in the business. His agility and athleticism for a guy his size was phenomenal. He didn't have that great of a career in WWE. He did, however, headline WrestleMania 11 facing Lawrence Taylor. I've always thought he might have drawn the short straw on that one. I think a lot of guys probably didn't want to work with LT, and Bam just got chosen. Over in ECW, he had much greater success. He was the world champ over there and their TV title holder for a bit. He also had tag success, being the two-time WCW tag champs and holding the IWGP tag titles with Vader at one point. So I think the Beast from the East should be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Number 8, William Regal.
William Regal is on a lot of people's short lists to go into the Hall, not just for his very lengthy WWE career, which saw him hold the IC title, the European title, the tag titles, and was the King of the Ring back in 2008, but also for his behind-the-scenes work as a general manager, currently the GM of NXT, and the fact he trained many wrestlers. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Matt Cross, who you might know as Son of Havoc over on Lucha Underground, just to name a few. Regal had an interesting start coming up through the carnival system there in England, wrestling anybody and everybody, just guys off the street who would come and, I want to get in the ring with a wrestler. And it's an odd, really different backstory than most any other wrestler on the company. He's had some struggles with substance abuse, which he overcame. He's just an all-around great guy. Anybody in the back tells you what a phenomenal wrestler he is. He's just a wrestler's wrestler and is definitely going to be in the Hall one of these days.
Number 7, the Honky Tonk Man.
On paper, the Honky Tonk Man would seem just a ridiculous gimmick, an Elvis impersonator as a wrestler. But when Honky got in the ring, you saw that he is really a good wrestler. And he was well deserving of that record-setting Intercontinental title reign, which wasn't supposed to happen. He was supposed to just be a transitional champ, winning it from Steamboat, only to lose it to Jake. But unfortunately, the Snake was out with the injury because Honky hit him with that guitar shot. The guitar, not being gimmicked, real guitar, hurt Jake pretty badly. So Honky was able to hold on to the title for a little while longer. Turned out to be a lot longer. And just for that record-setting Intercontinental run, his managerial work, his in-ring work, he definitely deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Number 6, China.
China broke down the boundaries of how women were looked at in the industry. She was the only female to ever hold the Intercontinental Championship. She was the first ever female to enter the King of the Ring tournament, also the first woman to enter the Royal Rumble. Whenever I watched the Stone Cold podcast, and Triple H said he thought she should go in, but he made that whole rigmarole about, oh, kids are going to look her up on Google and see that she's done adult films. I think that was a smoke. I honestly think that they were just afraid. As you know, as many problems and as bad as she felt about the company, they were afraid of putting a live microphone in Joni's hands. Unfortunately, now that she's passed, they'll probably put her in the hall because that is no longer going to be an issue. And she definitely belongs in there. She was an instrumental part in DX, and like I said, changed the view of women in the wrestling business forever.
Number 5, Diamond Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas Page waited until relatively later in life to get into the ring. He started out as a manager, and there's a great story I love them telling whenever he told Michael P.S. Hayes that he wanted to get into the ring. Hayes literally fell on the floor laughing at the thought of Page getting into the wrestling ring at, his late 30s. Later on, Hayes had to eat some crow as Page became a multiple-time WCW World Champion, held their TV title, the US title, was a multiple-time tag champion, and was the 4th ever Triple Crown champ over in WCW. When he came over to WWE, he held the European title and the tag titles at one point. I think that alone is enough to get him into the Hall of Fame, but what he has done after should cement his entry. The stuff he's done to help Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall, basically saving those guys' lives. They both of them will tell you, if it weren't for Dallas, they would be dead. And I think that should cement his spot in the Hall of Fame.
Number 4, Rick Rude.
Rick Rude was everything you'd want in a professional wrestling heel. He had a look that he was extremely proud of and had no qualms about telling the audience how good he looked and how bad they looked. He had great mic skills, and he was a great worker. Led him to the Intercontinental Championship one time, and when he went over to WCW, he was the US champ and the International World Heavyweight champ at one point. He also holds a little historical distinction in that he is the only person to ever show up on an episode of WWF Monday Night Raw and WCW Monday Nitro on the same night. Raw had been taping every other episode. Nitro was live. In the interim between the taping and the live showing of Nitro, Rude had left WWF to go to WCW. Left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths about Rick over in WWE, but he will forever hold that footnote. Only guy to do it. Should that get him in the Hall? No, but his incredible ring work, his mic skills, he was the total package as far as a wrestling heel is concerned. And I think that gets him in the Hall.
Number 3, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
When I was growing up, I loved the British Bulldogs. They were just fun. They both were phenomenal athletes. They had a great look. As a kid, I loved they brought a dog to the ring. I mean, what kid doesn't love dogs? But Davey Boy Smith was an incredible athlete, which led to him holding multiple titles in WWE, the European title, the tag titles. He held the hardcore title a couple of times, whatever that means. And His win for the Intercontinental Championship from Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1992 earned those guys the PWI Match of the Year that year. He was a phenomenal worker, just fun to watch, incredibly powerful, and should be in the Hall of Fame.
Number 2, Vader.
Another agile big man. Vader was amazing to watch. I always remember when I watched him, he'd go for the Vader bomb. And I was always hoping Harley would tell him to go to the top rope because I loved watching that moonsault of his. He's just phenomenal wrestler. Didn't have a great run in WWE, but like Mick Foley said on his DVD, if all you know of Vader is his WWE work, you're missing out. He had a phenomenal run over in New Japan, becoming the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion 3 times. In fact, he was the first non-Japanese wrestler to ever hold that belt. He was their tag champs with Bam Bam at one point. When he came to WCW, he was 3-time World Heavyweight Champion over there. And I just think he was just a phenomenal athlete. A man that size moving the way he did is just incredible. And he should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Now, before we get to our number 1 pick, I'd like to hit you with a few honorable mentions.
Victoria, the Great Muta, Lemmy. Number 1, Owen Hart.
Yeah, I know, it's a predictable number 1, but Owen definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The WWE wants him to be there. His widow has been very reluctant to let them use his image or anything for any purpose. The release of the DVD set last year has led many of us to believe there's a thawing in that feeling and that she'll allow the WWE to put Owen in the Hall next year. We can only hope. From the very beginning, Owen showed that he was an immense talent. He won the PWI's Rookie of the Year back in 1987. The next year he went over to New Japan and won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Then he came to the WWE where he racked up title after title, Intercontinental, European, 4-time tag champs, and the King of the Ring back in 1994. And many of us believe that he would have went on to a world title if not for that tragic accident in May of '99 at the Over the Edge pay-per-view. And here's an aside. For those of you out there who say that those of us who want Owen in the Hall are just wanting him there because he died tragically in a WWE ring at an event, if this weren't a family program, I would have words for you. That's all I've got to say. Owen deserves to be in the Hall because he was an amazing wrestler, an amazing man on the mic. In my humble opinion, better than his brother Bret. My number 1 pick, who should be in the Hall? Owen Hart. So there you have it. My top 10 people who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Tell me who you think should be in the Hall of Fame in the comments section below. And go over to Facebook and like the show on facebook.com/the Family One Kickout. You can follow me on Twitter at Festus74. And tune in next week when I'll bring you my top 10 favorite tag teams of all time. Until then, remember, when life has you pinned, always kick out.